We are following a developing story in South Africa where cash-in-transit heists are crippling the country. There's been nearly 200 of these robberies in South Africa so far this year. These heists are extremely violent and involve explosives, assault rifles, and careful planning. CBS News foreign correspondent Debora Patta spoke to heist analyst and author Annalisa Burgess about the violence.
The general consensus, it seems, when you look at what criminals tell academic researchers and when you look at what they tell me, is they say it's very easy to do, it's an easy crime, it's extremely lucrative, and there are very few consequences, so it's low risk. Now, not low risk in terms of them losing their lives, low risk in terms of being arrested and of being successfully prosecuted. So the reason that this virus keeps mutating is because criminals see enormous value in pulling these kinds of robberies. They can make lots of money.
Just from one heist?
Just from one heist. One criminal said to me, "I'll make more in one heist than you'll make in your whole life."
And Debora Patta is with me now from Johannesburg, South Africa, to talk more about this. Hi, Debora. A lot of these heists happen in broad daylight on busy streets and highways, as opposed to middle-of-the-night robberies on back roads. So how has that happened nearly 200 times in South Africa just this year?
Tanya, you're so right. These are alarming statistics, and they are brazen attacks. They are carried out with military precision. And essentially, these are not the common garden variety kind of robberies that are so pervasive in South Africa. The gangs conducting these attacks arrive on the scene with heavy firepower. And what the research shows us is that they will do anything. They will use whatever violence is necessary to achieve their aims. So they come with semi-automatic weapons, they come with explosives, and the response has been extremely weak because what you have are security guards who are recruited into this profession to guard the cash, who come from often unemployed backgrounds. They have very little training. They're given a basic course. They have some kind of basic weapon, but they are outnumbered and outmanned, and they simply do not have the firepower or the training necessary to deal with this sophisticated crime. And this has emboldened the gangs carrying out these attacks because what they do is just conduct even more daring attacks over and over again.
And Debora, what do we know about the people and organized criminal gangs responsible for carrying out these heists?
Well, Tanya, if these are not common garden variety crimes, then the criminals are not common garden variety criminals. In fact, what we're seeing is that these gangs recruit the sort of top professionals, for want of a better word, from the various fields needed to conduct this attack. So they will hire ex-police officers, they will hire ex-crime investigating officials. They have experts who are able to procure weapons, who are able to procure vehicles, the top getaway drivers. They get the very best. Let's listen to what Annalisa Burgess told me.
And they come from a cross-section of the population and have done different things. Interestingly enough, most of them had a job. So they're taxi drivers, they are...
So we're not talking about poor unemployed.
No, and the issue is often, the question is often, is this a crime of greed or is this a crime of need? And we see from the research in terms of what people have done before that this is a crime of greed because these are not people trying to put food on the table. These are people who have seen a loophole, and they also say, we are very proud of what we do, we see ourselves as professionals, and we are very good at what we do. We aren't, we're not garden variety criminals.
And they're even using the money to invest, put kids through school, that kind of thing.
So the research that was done by Dr. Henny Lochner also looked at what they'd done with their money. Many of them had bought property, they bought townhouses. Often they like to move into areas, kind of upmarket areas, because they are less likely to be seen in these areas. They have spent a lot of money on their children's education. Two of the criminals that he interviewed had children at European universities.
And so, Debora, why are the police and investigators failing to catch these criminals and prosecute them? And is there anything being done to address this?
Well, bear in mind, Tanya, that the current president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, has only been at the helm of this country for a very short time. Prior to this, South Africa had nearly a decade of corrupt rule under former President Jacob Zuma. And one of the consequences of this corrupt rule was the implosion of the criminal investigation services and the crime agencies, the law enforcement agencies, because you need sophisticated people to deal with this. So what we are seeing is that these agencies are broken in South Africa. Zuma used them as his own personal army, his own personal fiefdom to achieve whatever ends he had in mind with them. And the very best professionals, the good detectives, the good intelligence officers have left these services. And what you need is not just an arrest, but a docket. You need evidence. And so you need sophisticated detectives who can work with the prosecutors to bring these people to book, and that is simply not happening in South Africa. There is hope that things will change under Ramaphosa, but it's going to take a long time to rebuild the crime enforcement agencies in this country. And today, Tanya, that hasn't happened.
Let's hope it doesn't take too long. Debora Patta for us in Johannesburg, South Africa. Thank you.